Okay, so we're still working on Victoria's ring. We haven't cut the cabochon yet, but we're going to now begin to work on the band. And we got a lot of different selections. One of the things, it's going to be a girl's ring, so you don't want the band to be too overly wide. Like, using this would make that band pretty wide. For this one's out. Right? We're not going to use that. We'll just put it right here. This one's kind of nice and thin. I mean, if you had two pieces come on this, it's going to be about that wide. It's a good standard ring size. But what I don't like about this is 1 millimeter thick. Okay, so it's not real thick, which would be okay, but you'd want to be a little bit more stable. This is 1.5 millimeter, a little thicker, but it's 4 millimeters wide. And when you make two, it could be a very wide ring. So we're gonna cancel this out. This is 1.5, same thickness as the previous one, but it's only 3 millimeters wide. So when you put two together, you're gonna get a nice band ring. So we want to cut a couple of pieces off. Now, on my wire, I always keep the little tabs on here, so I always have it kind of glued there. Otherwise, these things, they fall off. So what I got to do is cut it from the other side. Okay. And I've got these, I'll put this right here. I got these patterns or guides, and I know I have a 4.5. I could use a 5 probably. I've got to find it. Okay, that's a 6. So a 5 would probably be just below that, a little less than that. That's bigger. Okay. That's a 5 right here. All right, so we'll put all these back. They're different sizes for rings, bangles, and other stuff. This is for a size 15 ring, right? That way. So what I'll use this as my measurement. I'll come right here and line it up and get my snippets and just cut across. Okay, now that I've cut this, the next would be just to cut it to the next same size, because you want them to be the same size. Right, so that use that as a pattern and cut it. Put your cutters away. Put all the silver away. Now I've got two pieces, and my intent is what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder them together, and these ends will split out. That's going to form the ring. But you can see that they're kind of, we've got this convex shape or this radius in there. So the next thing would be to hammer them flat, so they're both flat. That's not going to take too long. I use my anvil or a hot mat. You want them nice and flat. Now, you wouldn't think it is, but as you're doing that, when you're hammering it flat, it's causing the metal to do funny things. So what I normally see is I'll see it begin to convex this way. So you got to come back and hammer that down too. Okay. So it's pretty flat. It'll lay nice and flat now. I'm gonna do the next one. always look at it. Always look and see. Okay, yeah, it's pretty fat. As long as it lays flat. The key is that it'll lay flat next to the other one with very little gap, and that's perfect right there. They're both about the same size, no biggie. The next step would be to form. I want the ring to come, and then at the ends I want them to split out, kind of like that. Okay. So what I do is I got on my anvil. You can see this is kind of a conical shape here that gives me this radius here. I'll set this up here, align that up nice, right up against the edge like that. Make sure that this is oriented to that end so that when I hit it, it don't take much, but you see I've now kind of got that little bend in there. And then I will do the same here. And as long as I line them up pretty even, that bend will be the same on both sides. Now, what happens is, like I say, when you bend the metal, you're always going to get that little convex again that doesn't lay flat. So you got to hit it back down like that. And when you do that, a lot of times it'll raise it up again. So you want to make sure hit it down again. And that's kind of the common theme with forming metal and shit in the hammering, that when you're creating a force, and that force is going to change something else in the form. So we're trying to achieve a flat side there and have it come down evenly like that. And this is pretty good. We'll do the next one. So now, when you lay them together, you solder it in the middle, and I'm going to get this little form. See how it's going to have like that, and then the stone will sit on top of on there. That's about the right size right there. So the next step would be to solder that. Well, clean the surfaces, both, and then we'll solder it. And that's the beginning of your ring. We haven't cut this yet, but we're still waiting for it. You can see that it's hard to see, but it's still a little glossy around. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time. But that's ready to get prepped for solder and to solder.